In April 2026, the legislative framework governing internet publishing in Australia will execute a structural inversion. For over 2 decades, the internet operated under a safe harbor baseline. If a user published illicit content, platforms like YouTube or X absorbed the primary legal burden, provided they removed the material upon notification. The dissolution of the regulatory shield leaves users directly exposed to legal action, removing the protective layer between creator and state. This introduces individual creator liability. The enforcement mechanism bypasses the platform entirely, targeting the independent operator as the primary liable entity for whatever passes through their digital channel. This map represents your new risk surface. With the centralized hub removed, enforcement vectors lock directly onto your individual nodes. You must account for 3 compounding variables: encryption mandates, secondary link liabilities, and algorithmic suppression. The removal of platform-level immunity places the creator at the center of the regulatory target, where every upload carries full personal legal risk. The first layer of this new landscape is the expansion of the E-Safety Commissioner's jurisdictional authority. The regulatory model is shifting from retroactive moderation, responding to takedown requests after publication, to a mandate for preemptive compliance. Look at this upload pipeline. The preemptive mandate forces platforms to implement proactive monitoring, installing a permanent, automated checkpoint between your local device and the public web. These automated scanners operate on low thresholds. A single matching parameter in an image, text string, or video file instantly flags the packet for regulatory review. Under the individual liability framework, the moment your upload triggers a red flag, you are placed in immediate legal jeopardy, long before a human moderator even looks at the file. Your daily upload routine has ceased to be a simple publishing action. It is now a continuous submission to a real-time regulatory audit. This proactive monitoring collides directly with secure, private community networks, creating an unresolvable technical paradox. We can call this the cryptographic contradiction. It is mathematically impossible to execute real-time content scanning without simultaneously bypassing end-to-end encryption. This diagram illustrates the mechanics. To comply with the mandate, the automated scanner must function as a man in the middle, physically breaking the encryption key to inspect the packets inside the secure tunnel. Bypassing the key dismantles the security architecture. You cannot build a backdoor for regulators without leaving the front door open to network interception. This physical reality neutralizes applications built exclusively around encryption protocols, isolating platforms like Signal from the compliant digital ecosystem. The structural weakness moves up the chain. Large-scale broadcast networks and encrypted private groups on platforms like Telegram lose their capacity for sealed communication. It extends directly into tiered community architecture. Independent creators managing private, subscriber-only channels on Discord now carry liability for every unencrypted packet their users generate. For investigative journalists or creators handling sensitive whistleblower data, the structural exposure is total. The physical chain of custody is broken by law. By outlawing mathematical privacy, the mandate strips secure digital sanctuaries of their defenses, converting them into exposed public forums with high creator liability. The risk matrix extends beyond the files you upload natively. It includes every external connection your content makes. The law reclassifies your legal status to that of a localized gatekeeper, responsible for the conduct and compliance of your entire audience. Complying with this duty of care requires you to deploy localized moderation tools and strict age verification gates on any community interface you operate. This graph maps out secondary liability. If you hyperlink to an external website that the regulator deems non-compliant, you absorb their legal failure. The violation travels back up the connection line directly to you. Severe financial penalties can be levied against your operation simply for directing traffic to an improperly regulated domain. The ultimate enforcement tool is the digital deplatforming order. Regulators can force local internet service providers to terminate your access and wipe your digital presence without prior warnings or a strike system. Your liability spans the entirety of the internet. Every external URL you drop into a description box is a potential trigger for instantaneous deplatforming. Zooming out, we have to look at how international distribution systems will process this localized Australian risk. The new legislation relies on broad definitions of harmful content, leaving a thin margin between a legal violation and controversial social commentary. This global map visualizes the mechanical response. To avoid absorbing secondary liabilities and localized fines, international platforms apply heavy safety filters strictly to content originating from Australian IP addresses. The global recommendation algorithms preemptively isolate, reject, or heavily downrank Australian data packets, cordoning them off to protect the broader network. While international tech standards prioritize frictionless, cross-border data flow, the local framework demands heavily gated national borders. Even if you maintain perfect, hyper-vigilant compliance locally, the global algorithms will mechanically suppress your reach, isolating the local tech sector from the rest of the world. The complete risk model is highly adversarial: strict individual liability, shattered encryption, secondary link traps, and automated algorithmic suppression. The strategic pivot required to survive this matrix relies entirely on decentralization. Watch this network structure. You must actively diversify your hosting architecture, moving away from single-point platforms and distributing assets across decentralized layers. Execute aggressive technical audits on your stack. Map every link, secure databases, and locate operational vulnerabilities. These infrastructural changes take time to build and verify. The technical audits must be completed this month to ensure stability ahead of the April 2026 enforcement date. Technical defense solves the immediate architectural problem, but addressing the legislative route requires socio-political action. Join an independent digital creators union. Pooling legal resources and collectively negotiating is the only way to effectively challenge automated deplatforming orders and overreaching audits. The 2026 mandate relies on isolating creators to enforce compliance. By diversifying your technical architecture and organizing into collective networks, you convert individual vulnerability into robust digital resilience.